Johanna?
I think you're here, yes.
All right, thanks. We got a new phone system and it has different indicators, so thank you. All right, welcome everyone. If this is your first time or if you're an old timer, we welcome you. If you're here live or if you're watching this or listening to this later, that's fine. We are so honored by your presence no matter what. And Johanna is right. This week we're talking about question number 5 of what I years ago started calling the 5 big questions. I think they're the 5 biggest questions in the universe, in the time of man. I mean, however you want to say that. And we're up to the last one. So, how do you solve your biggest problem? Now, I'm just going to give you a hit and miss kind of overview of this because the whole thing is on the YouTube channel and on the podcast, so I would recommend listening to that if this intrigues you. But if I were you, the first question I think I would have if I heard that was, well, how the heck can you possibly know what my biggest problem is? You don't even know me. You don't know my name. You don't know where I live. You don't know anything about my life. And that's a legitimate, very legitimate point of view. But here's where I'm coming from. About 3,000 years ago, a guy lived named Solomon, who many people believe still today, he was the wisest man who ever lived. And he said this about 3,000 years ago: there is nothing new under the sun. Now, of course, he was not talking about computers and cell phones and spaceships and things like that, okay? I believe what he was talking about was, as far as my dog scratching at the door, I believe that what he was talking about is that the basic fundamental issues of life, the basic stuff of this thing we call humans and our lifespan, that has not changed in 3,000 years. The critical issues are still the critical issues, and I call them the spiritual laws of nature. Now, my wife loves personality tests. Okay? In fact, she and I are thinking about working on a test, creating it together, because she has such a passion for that and has for a long, long time, because the first time she discovered those, it really gave her some insight, not only into herself, but to me as well, back when we were really struggling in our marriage. So she's had a love of that ever since. All of you have different personalities. You're different birth orders. You have different abilities. Everybody's a genius at something, okay? And you've got one of those things too. Now, some are more dramatic than others. Some are more rewarded than others. But all of you have a gift from God, an ability, something that you are great at. All right? And very often, being happy and healthy and that sort of thing means doing that. Maybe that's not your job, but you at least do it as a hobby. I found very few people who were gifted who could be happy not at least doing their gifting to some extent. Okay? But that's not what I'm talking about today, because you can become a millionaire, you can become a pro football player, you can become a world famous scientist or actor or anything and still be miserable. So that would not be solving your biggest problem just to do what you're gifted at or according to your personality type, okay? But what is the fundamental thing about us is that we are built, and I'm talking your brain, your heart, your nervous system, your spinal cord, your organs, your mind, your unconscious. We are built for love, joy, and peace 99% of the time, and life-threatening situational fear about twice a year for 15 minutes or so. That's what we're built for. Based on research, though, the latest research, we are going into fight or flight 5 to 30 times every day. Not 2 times a year for 15 minutes. We're living there. Well, what causes us to live there? Well, Dr. Dan Gilbert from Harvard, expectation is a happiness killer because it spikes our stress. Dr. Bruce Lipton, trying to do something with your willpower alone that you've not been able to do before and is not 100% under your control, 1,000,000 to 1 odds you're going to be able to do it successfully long term, and it's going to spike your stress. So that's it. That's what causes us to malfunction. When we don't choose love, but choose what I call fake love, love A, real love I call love B. The reason I've got it as B is because what most people mean when they say I love you is fake love, not real love, with children being the most common exception to that. But maybe everybody else, if you cross this line, man, you're out of here with me, okay? Well, when you live that way, which has a lot of names, karma, you reap what you sow, action, reaction, Newton's laws of motion. I mean, those are all names for this. It's the way everything in nature works. But when you live that way, as far as your mind, your life, your relationships, it puts you and keeps you into chronic stress, which means all the negative things happening in your hormones, your chemicals, your organs, your cells closing, going to disease state. On the other hand, when you give up the end result, stay in the present moment in love, your brain and nervous system flip the success switch, and you automatically get positive thoughts, feelings, positive hormones. Now you're working the way your brain, nervous system, and body and mind are designed to work. Okay? So that's the first point, is there's no way you can solve your biggest problem if you are trying to live your life in a way that violates how your very body and mind work. It just doesn't work that way. It's like, trying to run a computer, but the way you're trying to do the computer, it's not programmed to do that. So if you keep doing that, you'll end up with all these viruses and it won't work at all. We're the same way. Okay? So to solve your biggest problem, you have to go from choosing love A, if that's what you're doing, which is self-interest, business deal love, to choosing love B, which is in the present moment, regardless of my circumstances or results. And when you do that, then you start functioning correctly. So when you have positive thoughts, positive feelings, positive emotions, positive hormones, your cells are open, your immune system is tracking anything in quickly and subduing it. Let me ask you, are you going to do better at work or worse? If you're gifted as a singer, are you going to be a better singer or a worse singer? In your relationships, are they going to be happier and more intimate, or full of stress and tension? Well, the answer is everything's going to be better. It is the only way you can live your best life or close to it. Okay, once you do that, okay, if you do it, and very few people ever do completely, in my experience, but once you do that, then your unconscious mind gives you all of those things that you call success. You do better at everything you do, and your gifting or your personality or the work that you do much more excellently and from a place of love, joy, peace, instead of stress, anxiety, and tension. So, to solve your biggest problem, you have to fix what I call the source primary problem. And this is it. And if you fix that, the dominoes are going to start to fall automatically, and the thing you're calling your biggest problem now, whether it's health, money, relationship, whatever, is for sure going to get better, often dramatically so, or completely so. Okay, so like most of the great truths, this one too is paradoxical. To solve your biggest problem, you need to get your mind off of the external circumstantial problem to the source. And if you solve the source, then the external circumstantial issue, it'll resolve easily and usually quickly.